Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ottumwa City Council meeting. It's 5:30, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. And if everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
Technical difficulties. Hold, please.
It's not on.
This one's not on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's on.
Councilmember Cavanis.
Here.
Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Galloway.
Here.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here. Before we move farther into our agenda, I'd like to take a couple minutes tonight to recognize Hank Harper, who was one of our city employees who died unexpectedly on October 10th at Mercy One Hospital in Des Moines. His funeral was October 14th at Reese Funeral Home, and Chaplain Doug McIntyre officiated at his funeral. We have a short video that we'd like to have everybody watch, and Hank worked for the city of Ottumwa for 11 years. Yeah, Hank was a very positive and supportive and proactive city employee. He's going to be greatly missed. If we would bow our heads a minute for a moment of silence, it'd be appreciated. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is our consent agenda, part one. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Councilmember Cavanis.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
The next item is consent agenda, part two. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment if I could. It'll be short.
Okay.
I want to again address my no vote on the alcohol renewals and applications because I believe the evidence shows the harmful effect of alcohol on many people, and I vote no and plan to continue to do so. My vote is based on the dangers and harms of alcohol on some of our residents here in Ottumwa. And what seems to me that the dangers and the harm are greater than any benefit received from it. Because of the destructive nature of alcohol, it does not, I believe, deserve a 100% positive vote at every council meeting. I have said and will say again that I will not vote to close a business that serves alcohol but is run legally and operated according to city code. The purpose of my no vote is to just raise awareness of the dangers of alcohol to the health, the family life, and the finances of Ottumwa residents. I'm not interested in changing laws, but I just want us to think about the dangers there. None of the current council members that are here, none of the council candidates or mayoral candidates feel that they should or would agree with me on this vote. It is solely what I think that I should do for the good of Ottumwa to raise awareness of this danger. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
No?
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
The next item is to approve our agenda for tonight's city council meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Any further discussion? Not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
The next item on our agenda is our city administrator's report to the council and the citizens of Ottumwa. So I'll turn it over to Phil Rath, our city administrator.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Tonight I have the pleasure of turning the mic over and for the swearing in of new firefighters and newly promoted firefighters. And I'll turn it over to Chief Canto.
Good evening, Council, President Johnson, Administrator Rath. The Ottumwa Fire Department was founded in 1858. A lot of tradition that goes along with the fire service. One of the traditions we let go of the wayside was swearing our members in front of council as they became members of our organization or became promoted. So we have 3 groups that will be sworn in this evening. 2 of those groups will have their badges pinned by family members in front of you this evening. So first this evening, we're going to start with our new candidates. The American Fire Service is rich in tradition and has fascinating history. Tonight is where it all starts. This is where we make an impression and have an impact. This is where we set the tempo for what is coming in a firefighter's new career. Some departments hold this ceremony when they hire a new member. Some wait until they have finished and are graduating the fire academy. Either way, either situation, there's a reward for doing so. First, we are confirming to these new candidates that they are about to become part of a special family. Second, they know right now from the beginning that they're going to be held accountable. This is where we let them know that it's a privilege and an honor to be part of the Ottumwa Fire Department. Tonight, these candidates will raise their hand and swear to do the right thing, to honor those around them, and to carry on the traditions of the American Fire Service and the Ottumwa Fire Department. Tonight, we welcome the following candidates. Gentlemen. If you'd raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all duties of firefighter of the city of Ottumwa, Iowa, as now and hereafter required by law. Gentlemen, congratulations. Tonight, we have 2 members that are being promoted to this position. Unfortunately, one of them will not be here. We congratulate these members who have successfully achieved the milestone of promotion. These positions is one of great importance, and these individuals have accepted the responsibility and risks associated with the position. The position that they have accepted is a unique position in our organization, that of Master Firefighter. Why this position is unique? It is the senior position of a firefighter. They are responsible for knowing the apparatus, the city and its associated hazards, assisting with positioning new members for success, but also finding themselves at times acting as a company officer, each of these having their own challenges. Tonight, the following individuals will be getting promoted. Unfortunately, Master Firefighter Chance Crandall will not be here. And tonight, Master Firefighter Jerry Lemieux will be taking the oath. So let me just find yours here real quick. All right, here we go. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all the duties of Master Firefighter of the City of Ottumwa, Iowa. The duties as now and hereafter required by law. Congratulations. Again, we'll be missing one individual tonight, Assistant Chief Cole Owens, but we congratulate these three members who achieved, again, the milestone of promotion. Each and every day, these individuals will be on the front lines, being the first contact the citizens and visitors in need will have with our fire department. They accepted the responsibility and risks associated with being in a position of leadership. When we aspire to greater challenges and responsibilities, we hope for rewards, but the reality is we also acknowledge the risk of failure. So we pledge to work harder, learn more, and dedicate ourselves even more fully to the job. I know that you, the promotional candidates, have done exactly this. Congratulations to all of you for being willing to take the risk and striving to become a better public servant. I am proud to see our city's latest steps in selection towards promoting talented leadership. So when we get to your position, you'll state assistant chief and you will state captain. Okay? I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa. And that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all the duties of for the City of Ottumwa, Iowa, as now and hereafter required by law. Gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Canto.
Yes, thank you to all the members of the fire department that were able to be here and family members, and to Chief Canto for bringing something back. It's simple, but it means a lot, not only to the members that serve and their families, but to the community. So thank you for that. All right. And second thing I had on the report is for Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress, the quarterly update from Executive Director Mark Rowe.
Well, good evening. To begin, I'm sure that I owed Phil for something. I'm not sure what, but I owed him. Did I get the age
I
right? Or
dare
was
you
I
to
a
ask
little
him how
low on
old he
that?
is.
He's older than I thought.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Today's Phil's birthday.
Apparently my 100th.
Mark, are you suggesting we should sing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Whoever wants to lead.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Phil. Happy birthday to you, and many more.
I'd rather be nowhere else.
Hearing some of your voices, you guys better stick to city leadership, not really in the singing game.
I honestly fear how he's going to get retribution. Okay, so on a serious note, we'll talk tonight, as usual, the condition that the city's in right now, and then we'll move into what will be the annual report of Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress to the community. So to begin with, as usual, we'll talk about the real estate climate in Ottumwa, and this is the most recent report we have is as of August. Median sales price of a home is set $170,000, which that's about 96% of original ask price on homes. So the last report that we brought to council was 135,000, and it's not really that the market has went up, it's been the mix of homes that have went for sale have escalated. So while the number has went up, we have seen a significant drop of closed sales on homes over the same time frame. So houses are still moving into market, and as you can see, that sales price is starting to creep up there. So where 5 years ago you were seeing well under $100,000 was the average sales price of a home. Now it's nearly touching the $200,000 price point. So, and this is going to be a continuing thing that I report to City Council, at least for the foreseeable future, to talk about what the housing inventory, the growth or contraction of that looks like. So far this year, we have seen 3 new home build permits. These are single family units. All 3 of those were completed by nonprofit groups in the community, or in one of those cases was Indian Hills Community College. And then with that, we also saw 2 permits for multi-family apartment buildings. At the same time, we saw 11 condemnations and 20 houses demolished. So you can see we're, as reported back for 2024 calendar year, we're still seeing that negative slide here for the city of Ottumwa. And unless a whole lot of permits go out in the next 2.5 months, we're going to finish out 2025 negatively as well.
Do you know what we're at right now? Like, what are net losses on houses?
For the last 2 years since 2024, we're at 51. This is just a little bit of a more in-depth dive into the housing inventory detail here for Ottumwa. Right now, we have approximately 11,600 houses in Ottumwa. Registered rental units, 2,981, so 1,736 properties in the community. So we're hovering in that 15% range for rentals, which really kind of aligns with what the national average is. We're really not falling out of line with that right now. What is interesting, some data that I had received from Tim Albert at Ottumwa Waterworks, is we have approximately 460 properties in Ottumwa that have idle water meters on them. And in talking with Jake Rush just a little bit ago, we have roughly 160 out of that 460 that are placarded at the moment. So does that mean all of them need to come down? No, not necessarily, but there are about 160 of those that are placarded at the moment. The median house value, I don't think that this has been any shock. We've talked about this before, is about $83,000 in the city of Ottumwa, and the median house age, 87% of the housing units in Ottumwa are built before 1979. I don't say all of this to bring a huge negative light. I'm actually trying to paint a picture that we have some really good opportunities coming up here in the city of Ottumwa over the next at least year. As everybody is surely aware at this point, we were designated an Iowa Thriving Community, which gives us opportunities both for LIHTC housing credits and for workforce housing tax credits. This is an opportunity that we need to seize as a community. And I'm hoping that I'm painting not a disastrous picture for the city of Ottumwa, but more a picture of here's the proof that we can't let this opportunity slide away from us. And as a community, we need to work together to find ways to bring new housing across all price points to the city, because that is going to be paramount to the growth of the city moving forward. And then just to look at the workforce here, and this is really small. I didn't really think it was going to be that small for the unemployment rate. We did see over the last time that we reported to City Council, we saw an escalation in the unemployment rate over prior periods, most of that being layoffs from Hy-Vee. We had a lot of people that were in Wapello County that were working at the Sheraton facility, and they did a round of layoffs. So that's catching up with us, along with some of the seasonal work that has caught up with us. We'll see that bounce back to the positive direction here with the next report to council. But as you can see, the labor participation rate really hasn't changed that much. We're still pacing right along with the national average, although we are pacing below the Iowa average for labor participation, which is not necessarily too much of a shock given some other factors that we have in the community. So we have seen a little bit of a decline of available jobs over the last year, but again, a lot of that is due to layoffs in some of the major employers here. So with that being said, to turn to the annual report for GoPIP. We had a great year last year. This was since we started keeping track of data. This is probably the best year that we've had as an organization as far as fulfilling our mission to the businesses and the community that we serve. So just a little bit of what we did for our member businesses last year. We spent over $5,000 in radio advertising to our member businesses. We did 22 ribbon cuttings. Rick, he's had to do a lot of walking to go to a lot of those this last year. He probably said another one. But anyway, we distributed $16,000 worth of GoPIP bucks back into the community, and those are only available to spend at the local businesses here in the community, so they can't spend those at Amazon or anything like that. Those are dollars that are reabsorbed into the community immediately. We sent over 800 Flyer Friday blasts weekly to people who signed up for those, and more than 2,000 click-throughs to member businesses through our website. And with that, 338 specific business tags. So effectively, nearly every day of the week, we were tagging a business on our social media platforms. So all that said and done, direct points of contact to the businesses here in Ottumwa, we had over 45,000 points of contact directly related to the businesses here in the community last year. We offered translation services to 4 local businesses throughout the course of the year, and with the blessing of the Ottumwa Legacy Foundation, we're able to work with 7 businesses in the West End and the East End District to design and place new signage on their buildings. We grew by 15 members last year. We saw event attendance of over 4,500 people coming into our events for the year. And with that, we saw 89 volunteers, which is a record for us, having 89 volunteers with over 2,000 people hours working over the course of the year. We served as a fiduciary agent for 2 local businesses, and we engaged with the 8th Judicial District for community cleanups and working with Main Street Ottumwa for good Lord, what am I?
Make Ottumwa shine.
Yes, thank you. I lost it there for a second. We distributed over $30,000 worth of grant dollars into the community last year, $7,100 to the Church Street District, $5,000 to the Wapello County Trails, $15,000 for the Ottumwa Riverfront Project, and $3,000 to community event sponsorships. And non-payroll related expenses, we reinvested $131,000 back into the community last year. And just an effect of GoPip's touch into the community. All of the staff members served on 16 boards and committees last year. Working with other community members, and I think that that's where the progress of the community is important, is creating that working relationship, moving away from those silos as a community. We were able to take part in that to a significant degree this year, working with the city of Ottumwa for the pedestrian crossings on Church Street, working with, again, the city of Ottumwa to install floral sculptures on Church Street District. We've had a couple problems with a couple of them, but we'll get past that. We did purchase trash receptacles and flower pots for the district as well. We worked to complete with the city of Ottumwa and Rippling Waters and the Legacy Foundation the wayfinding signage for the city of Ottumwa. We held 2 legislative advocacy events for the membership of GoPip, community videos and podcast episodes for the community, voter education and outreach, and we launched an international film festival. And as I'm sure everybody in this room, which I built this particular page before it was completed, we also launched, working with the Ottumwa Courier and Ottumwa Radio Group, a debate series for elected positions, and that will extend out past local races into state races as we move forward into the next election cycle. And I won't bother reading all of this stuff, but these are some of the other things that we worked with other groups here in the community to make progress happen, not only now, but into the future.
Mark, could you talk just a little bit, since it's on the agenda tonight, how GoPip's worked with retail strategies?
Sure. So as everybody knows, that is a city contract. The last 3 years, the city of Ottumwa and the Legacy Foundation have financed that, and GoPip has acted as the administrator of that contract. So what the last year has looked like really predominantly has been creating what the forward plan is for retail strategies. We know we have some hiccups in front of us, some barriers, and what does the retail strategies role in that look like moving forward? How do we harness the white box spaces that we have in the community, and how do we leverage those moving forward? And as a result of having those conversations, we have moved away from marketing the Quincy Place Mall and moved towards those other spaces, specifically like the former Target box. And as a result of that, we are seeing an Ollie's location going into there. So, and with that, there has been conversations on the back end with some other potential either quick service restaurants or retailers that could potentially have interest in coming to the city of Ottumwa.
And it's my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think Retail Strategies was also responsible for bringing Five Below and also Jersey Mike's to Ottumwa.
That's correct. So what does the next year look like? I had said this during our GoPip annual banquet last week, so there are a few people in the room that were there, so pardon me for duplicating my thoughts. But when we started the strategic planning phase of what the next 12 months was going to look like for the organization, I'm pretty sure that our board of directors thought that I was crazy because I asked, instead of to go with the status quo, I asked to allow us to do a whole lot more work. Some of that involved making some difficult decisions in the community, as everybody's aware. But we felt that those were necessary for the sustainability of the organization. So the first thing on that list is, which I won't belabor this because I know Cyan was in talking about it very recently, bringing Winterfest to Ottumwa and replacing out the former Holiday Nights and Lights holiday. And then we are reviving a coupon guide. And again, this is to drive local dollars into our local businesses. This is something that we'll be launching in December. And this has a pretty good circulation on it as it stands right now. And we anticipate that we should be able to see a pretty good return on investment for local businesses on this guide moving forward. So this will be a 6-month coupon book that the citizens can utilize to the stores of their choice. Then one that we are really excited about is a holiday 50/50 raffle, and the tickets are on sale if anybody wants to buy one. Which has a pretty good grand prize attached to it, $10,000 to whoever the lucky winner would be on that. And then we are also launching three other new events. One of them isn't listed on here yet, a legislative summit that will align with the Iowa legislative cycle. And that will be a ticketed event that's open to the public. And then also the Southeast Iowa Agribusiness Summit that will take place in February next year. As everybody's aware, the agricultural industry is the prime industry for Wapello County, and that is something that has probably not received as much attention that it should have over the past several years. So this is the first step to correcting that. And then finally, on this slide, we're launching a leadership book, a regional leadership book, not just localized to Ottumwa, called Momentum, that will allow people to highlight those leaders that have made an impact or they believe will make an impact in Southeast Iowa in the years to come. So with that, I'll take any questions that anybody might have. Yes, sir.
Mark, just looking at your presentation here, first I'd like to be a little critical. It's very difficult for me to read it. Maybe it's because I'm old and can't see that far. But nonetheless, hard to read. But on your last issue where you're going to give $10,000 away,
Yes.
did you give any consideration to make that $5,000 with two $2,500 so 3 people could win that?
I'm glad you brought that up, Keith. So in total, there are 19 prizes in that drawing. First prize is first of all, it's a limited ticket pool, so there are only 400 tickets available at $100 per ticket. So the 50% of that is $20,000. So while the grand prize is $10,000, the second prize is $5,000, the third prize is $2,000, and then there are several $200 and several more $100 prizes. So there's a pretty good chance that the people who are picking up those tickets can at least win their money back.
You must have been reading my mind.
Mark, I've still had a lot of people want to know the reason why the popular Holiday Nights and Lights is no longer going to be held. Can you just real briefly kind of give just a quick response as to why that's not happening this year?
Do you want a brief response or a full response?
Well, full but brief.
Okay. So we were under a 5-year contract with Winterland, which is the company who owns the lights, and that was also a revenue share model. We were the only city under their portfolio that still had a revenue share model. Typically, they work on lease only with their lights. So that 5-year contract came up, and I think it's also important for me to interject at this point that part of that contract was they were responsible for any damage or vandalism to the lights every year. With that revenue share model, we had seen over the last 7 years, but really in the last 5 years, setting aside 2020, 2020 was an anomaly. We have seen declined gate revenue for that, which obviously affected the Winterland's portion of the proceeds for that. Fast forward, over the last 2 years, we have seen several thousands of dollars worth of damage and vandalism. For example, the night subsequent to the closing night of Holiday Nights and Lights, which would have been December 30th, I believe, we went over to the park to check on it, and the controller for the tunnel had been completely ripped away from the tunnel, and with that they had damaged the tunnel to the point where it was non-operational anymore. So couple those two things together with the fact that they were moving to that leasing model. They increased the lease price if we were going to move forward with Winterland by over $50,000, which obviously is not sustainable by our organization. We had months worth of meetings with our board of directors on how can we possibly move forward with this. And one of the driving questions, because we knew based on several years worth of analysis of what the traffic was through there, the only option to move forward was increased sponsorship participation. And the question really became, was it going to be fair to ask every sponsor that we had to more than double their contribution? And the more people that we talked to, the more that we realized that not only was it not fair, it wasn't realistic. So we weren't making that kind of money, anywhere close to that kind of money for that event. So we would have been, $30,000, $40,000 in the hole just to produce that event. And that doesn't count. None of that counts the fact that when 20 years ago, when Holiday Nights and Lights was started, it was started completely on volunteer effort. All of the construction, all of the destruction, all of the manning was done with volunteers. Over the course of the years, most of the people that were around during the inception of Holiday Nights and Lights were retired folks. They have since either moved on or passed on. So the last 3 years specifically, we had so little volunteers that we had to pay labor to set it up, to tear it down, and to work it on most nights. We still had some nights like Doug's church, for example, was gracious enough to work every Tuesday night during the course of the events. But setting aside one-offs like that, we had to pay people to work those events. So, even the volunteer pool that we used to have for it doesn't exist anymore. So it was really it was not a sustainable event for us any longer. And from a production standpoint, it wasn't something that we could continue on with.
Well, I appreciate that explanation, because I know it's been a real popular holiday event for several years, but I just wanted the public to know that GoPip really analyzed and had some very difficult decisions to make, and it just wasn't, like you said, financially feasible anymore to do it. So thank you for that explanation.
And just one more data point here, in 2021, and again, I set 2020 aside because that was a spike year because of COVID. But in 2021, our average traffic through that event was 5,200 cars. And we had scaled down last year because of diminished traffic. The year before, so the 2023 season, we had went from that over 5,000 cars to 3,700 cars. So that's in that short of a time frame. That's how fast the traffic has dropped in that event. So, and then looking at 2023 to last year, while we didn't see the nightly traffic drop any from an average perspective, it was reasonable to assume that if we were to hold it this year, we would see that same amount of decline this year as well.
Thank you very much for that
You
explanation.
know, Mark, even though we all know the ending of Nights and Lights, even though that chapter is closed, there is a positive thing. We're getting Winterfest, so that's a new tradition we can start. That's something new we can all do. So, you know, when one chapter closes, a great new one opens. So I do thank you guys for thinking outside the box. It didn't just go away. Something's replacing it. So
Yeah, and you know, I look at it from a positive standpoint. You know, this is a healthy activity, a healthy lifestyle activity for people that are going to be attending it. It gets them up and moving, especially in the winter months in Iowa. It's hard to get people out and about and moving. This is an opportunity for them to do that. And then from our mission perspective, this has a very key mission attainment moment for us in the fact that we get to support our local businesses with having vendor space available. So
I'm glad you brought that up. My next point was that gets the small businesses right into everybody's space. So it's going to be fantastic. So Thanks for your work.
Any other questions for Mark from council? If not, we appreciate your report.
thank you.
All right. One other thing I wanted to mention, and it's not specifically listed on the agenda, but earlier this year, the City Council had approved the adoption and implementation of sewer-based fees, specifically for multifamily and mobile homes. And that implementation was set aside until January 1 of 2026. As that date gets closer, it has stirred up some more conversation around that. And we were initially planning to have a work session next Tuesday to talk about that. But as in preparation of that and looking back on April 1st, that was when it was officially motioned to set aside until January 1. There was also conversation about having a rate study done to look at and compare, because realistically we're on one base schedule, and that is all residential, commercial, everything is on same. The rate study will look at having a variation of those things and seeing if that makes sense or not. On September 16th, so about a month ago, the City Council approved to move forward with hiring V&K to complete a rate study in coordination with the one they're doing for Ottumwa Water and Hydro. This will help give us some of those classifications and understanding of what the base charge schedule maybe should be. And as a result, I had requested, and City Council is in agreement to postpone the work session until that study results come back, which we're estimating, I think at the time they said about 4 to 6 months. So it'll be after the first of the year. As a result of that, we'll be bringing forward to the next meeting a request to further postpone the implementation of the sewer rates until after that work session could be held. So not for January 1st, but at some point into the future, should after the work session and subsequent meetings, it be necessary to still look at doing that. So I just wanted to get that out there publicly. I don't think we had posted the work session yet, but people were aware that it could be coming. And so I want to put that out there and share the word on that. We won't have a work session next week for that reason, if there's any other reason to have one. And once we get the rate study back, we'll be able to have a more healthy discussion of not only for multi-residential, if that's necessary, but rate structures in general. And that's all I had for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Phil. The next item on our agenda is where I ask if there's any citizens that would like to speak on any agenda items tonight. I don't have any white slips up here, but does anybody want to speak on any of tonight's agenda items? Okay, if not, we'll move on to public hearings. We have 3 public hearings this evening.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing on the proposed fiscal years 2027 to 2031 capital improvement plan for the city of Ottumwa, Iowa.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe our Finance Director, Cole O'Donnell, is going to address this.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, one of the things I do want to clarify from Administrator Rath's remarks about the
work session and the resolution that we'll bring forward next time. The resolution bring forward next time will continue the delay of implementing base fees on multifamily housing. Our flow rate is already in place. The increase started July 1, so it isn't a total moratorium on all sewer rates, just on the base fees for multifamily housing.
Yeah, thank you.
Before I start, I do want to remind the council that the capital improvement plan is just that, a plan. It can, has, and will be modified to meet the needs of the city. Staff has given their best effort to identify projects, cost estimates, and revenue sources for the proposed projects. Your adoption of the CIP tonight commits us to the plan. Projects will still need to be entered into the annual budget for your approval and receive further action prior to the purchase or project start. You are also committing to the goals and policies of the plan that will then be incorporated into the annual budgeting process. So our visions and goals. In the initiatives for fiscal years 24 through 26, the following goal was set. Create multi-year budgeting and capital planning, use priority budgeting. On December 17, 2024, the Ottumwa City Council adopted the fiscal years 2026 through 2030 capital improvement plan to partially fulfill this goal. The CIP does project all revenue and expenditures for certain funds for 5 years of the plan. While not multi-year budgeting, the projections help staff to determine if sufficient resources should be available to meet the city's capital needs. This should be taken into consideration when reading the CIP. So some of the things that we use that we look in there as part of some of our goals, we use historical data and trends, economic forecasts, allows predictions on revenues, expenditures, and balances, and we can monitor and adjust. So this year, when we had staff start filling out their projects, I reminded them that they could add a project to any year, though funding was not necessarily guaranteed, that they should look at their projects that are currently entered and modify any costs or revenue sources that may have come up as far as changes relating to whether it's inflationary costs or perhaps even tariff costs. So some of the policies. The CIP is prepared in compliance with the adopted fiscal policies of the city of Ottumwa. So we do have a purchase policy. We also have fiscal policies, and it's prepared in accordance with that. Equipment and vehicle replacement schedules are based upon the established lifespans of said equipment, with vehicle replacements approved by the fleet committee. So before a vehicle or something that would be reviewed by the fleet committee can be approved for replacement, it has to go before the fleet committee, and they do a review based upon its condition, its lifespan, and maintenance costs. The city will commit to annual road maintenance and repair with an emphasis on managing road use tax and local option sales tax to ensure that projects are done in a timely fashion. I want to note that through using some different revenue sources and reserves, we are putting an additional $400,000 a year for the first 4 years of the plan towards road repair and maintenance. That would be through debt service. But we use some additional other revenue sources to move some items out of debt service so we can get an additional $400,000 in road repair. The city will commit to annual sewer maintenance and repair with emphasis on managing sewer improvement funds and local option service tax to ensure that projects are completed in timely fashion in compliance with established sewer separation plans. Part of the whole necessary changes in sewer rates was in order to move more local option sales tax towards road repair and then pay for the sewer separation costs through sewer fees. Debt service and bond proceeds will be managed so that the debt service levy will not increase or decrease greater than 5% from year to year due to the retirement or addition of debt, so long as doing so does not impact the goals of the plan. The reason for doing that is you want to Debt service is one of those levies that we can manage, that we can try to hold steady as possible. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to spike up or spike down, and then you see those changes from year to year. So we might spike up, and then the next year we spike down, and then we go a couple of years and we spike back up again. What we want to do is try and keep that level so that our citizens are able to expect a certain level of the tax levy. So department totals. So the plan is programmed for $94,305,758 over the 5 years. The total includes several large projects that depend upon outside financing sources. With those sources, the projects without those sources, the projects will be delayed or not completed. Through the use, like I said, mentioned before, through the use of alternate funding sources and dedicated reserves, staff is putting an additional $400,000 in street maintenance for years fiscal year 27 through 30. The additional allocation will come from the proceeds of debt. What I will also mention is that that $400,000 may be sacrificed depending upon how the bonding projections come forth. Because we've already planned on putting some money towards through local option sales tax towards the street repair. The additional $400,000 is a bonus, and hopefully we're able to do that when we go through the bonding process and are able to keep that going. Library is programmed for a building addition, but is one of those projects needing outside funding sources. There's a capital campaign that has to be completed. There are several grants that have to be applied for, and the library director is here tonight, and we are working on getting her going with how to get the capital campaign going, because it is substantial what is being asked for the capital campaign.
Cole,
yes,
isn't the library project to build onto the existing library, not build a brand new library?
Correct. Yeah, it is a $14 million project to add an addition to the current library. Similarly, Parks has 2 large projects with one needing outside funding sources. That is the Lazy River that's planned. That is a large project that will also require a capital campaign. So we'll need to start working on that as well if we want to proceed forward with that. The majority of the water pollution control infrastructure is for plant and lift stations. An amphitheater is programmed for 2031 for the BVC. This is a placeholder project and will only proceed if funds are available and public purpose is established. Airport projects are largely funded through FAA and Iowa DOT grants. So when you look at that total there, the amount that the city has to directly contribute is much less than that $4.5 million. Okay, so we break our projects down into several different categories. Building and facilities includes the library addition, amphitheater, and most of the BVC projects. Between streets and sewers, over $35 million in investments in infrastructure representing over 30% of the total project expenditures are planned. So again, that's $35 million investment in infrastructure for streets and sewers, which is 37% of the total project expenditures. If you took out the 2 large projects for the library and the Lazy River, that percentage goes way up. We continue to invest in the quality of life projects with the bulk of the investments for the Lazy River and ball field construction. Major equipment includes tractors, dump trucks, street sweepers, HVAC units for BVC, among others. Any vehicles and major equipment is reviewed by the fleet committee before recommending for replacement, as I stated before. There's $2.4 million of community development for demolition program. However, $750,000 is allocated for Build Ottumwa, conditional on receiving 50% of funding from the legacy. So we do have to apply for that legacy funding. But at the same time as we're trying to take down some properties that cannot be rescued, we're looking to try to encourage additional housing units being built in the city of Ottumwa. So where are we getting the money? $35 million comes from the proceeds of debt. Proceeds of debt includes issuances that are paid from sources other than property tax, such as the sewer separation project. It does include $1.6 million for street maintenance that was not in last year's CIP. Additionally, several projects are for public facilities and require referendums in order to issue the debt. If you remove projects in these categories, the amount of GO debt is below the target of $3.5 million per year, with the exception of 2031, which is right now targeted at $3.6 million approximately. The $17 million in loss funding is directed to the annual street maintenance program. As part of the fiscal year 26 through 30 CIP, the decision was made to dedicate more loss funds to street maintenance and increase sewer fees to fund the separation projects. The library addition and Lazy River will require additional campaign of $5 million each. While sewer fees fully fund the water pollution control and sewer collection projects, additional fees are allocated to pay debt service on borrowing for separation projects. Both the sewer capital and reserve funds are drawing on dedicated reserve for separation projects. No additional revenues or projects are projected for either of those two funds, which is the sewer capital and the sewer capital and the reserve fund. Several local grants have already been secured, but larger grants in future years have yet to be applied for and are not guaranteed. We include them in the planning purposes. So if those grants don't come to fruition, the projects will either have to be reworked, delayed, or abandoned. So some of the different projects. There are projects that, as I've stated before, absolutely depend upon financing. The library addition, the Lazy River, the baseball, softball field construction, and the amphitheater. Critical projects, those that will receive priority are the annual street maintenance program, the sewer separation projects, the remodel for bathrooms at City Hall to make them ADA compliant, and the new cell development at the landfill. Most of the proposed projects are necessary for continued delivery of services, maintaining facilities, or repairing infrastructure. However, there are some projects that, while needed or beneficial, are not critical, and these are also high-ticketed items. There are several others that are critical and high-ticket items as well. Critical projects will receive priority should funding not meet estimations. So continuing on with projects, some projects of note, the 315 projects. These are required and are using dedicated reserve when possible to reduce the amount borrowed. We'll still need outside financing, and we will need to ensure that we're able to cover those projects' operations on an annual basis. So 315 is sewer construction. So again, we don't have a choice on doing the separation projects, and we have to make sure that we're able to do those. As I mentioned before, $2.4 million for demolitions, removing unsafe housing and derelict structures, and we're not replacing them. But as I mentioned before, there is new funds dedicated to encourage new housing. But we, as Mr. Rowe indicated, we are removing faster than we are replacing. We continue programs that encourage development in the downtown and non-critical projects that are not necessary for operations in most cases. However, continued upgrades and maintenance on a regular basis reduce the need for large-scale renovations over time. So the non-critical there are to replace the windows at City Hall. Again, they're not necessarily needed. But as we know, if we ignore maintenance and upgrades, in the end, we have to pay more to have the work done. Okay, so the bottom line. Airport operations still show estimated expenditures outpacing estimated revenues. During the annual budgeting process, staff will conduct further analysis to determine if estimates are on target or need revision. Based upon this analysis, staff will make recommendations for the fund. Fleet Reserve Fund is being reduced for eventual elimination. Previous practice was funds in excess of estimated ending balances would be transferred to the Fleet Reserve for future vehicle purchases. This practice is no longer feasible with budgets becoming tighter and tighter. Landfill and recycling funds appear to be healthy for the near future, but we'll continue to monitor. Proceeds of debt is an in and out. We do not borrow or spend more than what is needed for the proposed projects.
Road use tax fund has stabilized in relation to revenues meeting expenditures. I believe last year we indicated that that might not be the case. It must be noted that this is done by levying taxes for employee benefits, which affect the levy rate. So in order to get the road use tax to become solvent in future years, we're levying for the benefits paid in that fund. It does affect the levy rate. And we did do some things this year to keep that benefits levy a little lower, but we'll gradually have to bring all of those benefits online. Sewer fees are estimated to cover operations and capital costs for future years, but we do see balance reductions. Staff will evaluate each year to determine if projects can be reworked or, if necessary, sewer rates modified. The sewer improvement fund will be used for Phase 8, Division 4, and no additional revenues are planned for that fund. So lastly, I get to all the questions that you now have. Yes, sir.
Mr. O'Donnell. So I'm gathering from the writing and then from what you said that our debt limit is 3.5 million. Is that right? Is that the number?
Our debt limit, that's not our debt limits, that's our
Okay.
debt target. It's 3.5 million a year.
Okay.
The debt limit is set by the state of Iowa, and there's a formula for that. As we issue debt, we will continue to monitor to make sure that our debt is within our adopted policies of not exceeding a certain percentage of what our limit is.
Yeah. It says 80%. Is that right? Not
Correct.
to exceed
Yeah.
80%.
Can you actually go back to that last slide, please?
Oh, sorry. My bad. All right. Let's do that a little slower. That one.
Okay. I have a couple questions about this. So let's go back to airport 131 operations. And can you tell me what you just said again?
Okay.
I want to make sure I understand.
Okay. So airport operations still show estimated expenditures outpacing estimated revenues.
Okay.
So, and then during the annual budgeting process, staff will conduct further analysis to determine if estimates are on target or need revision. So when we sit down, we'll look at what we expect the revenues to be for the remainder of the year. Do we see any changes in those revenues up or down for future years? And then we'll look at the expenditures and again, look at where we are, what we expect them to be, and what we expect in the future years. One of the things that we did do is we took the grant matches that were being paid for directly out of operations. We're using the airport TIF to make those matches that is permissible under the urban renewal area out there. And in fact, what it is the only expense right now is debt service that was used for runway improvements. That'll actually fall off next year, will be our last payment on that. And then if we need additional capital investment in the airport, we can use those funds for that purpose.
Okay, so I had asked that just because I had always thought, and I think some other council people would agree, that the airport has always kind of been self-sufficient and been able to provide for themselves. And so I didn't know if this was calculating the grants that they get from like the FAA and the Iowa, DOT grants too?
Right. Well, this is strictly operations.
Okay.
The capital projects where the grants will be run through are run through a separate fund.
Okay. And then the other thing too, I want to clarify for everyone, the landfill fees and recycling, while they are under our CIP, that is a separate commission that, I mean, it's made up of the city council, but then also the Wapello County supervisors too.
Correct. The reason why it's included in our CIP is because all the financials are run through the city.
Yep. I just wanted to clarify that while we sit on it, it's a joint decision with
Correct.
the Board of Supervisors. Okay.
Correct.
I do have some other questions too. So you had talked about, some of the funds are projected to go negative. And I think it's important, and I think you did touch on it again, but I really want to make sure we are very clear and, as Bill would say, transparent. that, if we are looking to go negative, that those are things that we can push down the road, like certain things, not everything, because we have a history of kicking the can down the road when it comes to infrastructure, and we have failing infrastructure because of that. So so I guess, can you just expand on that just a little bit more? Because, when we up here hear about funds going negative, and when the community hears on that, it's kind of a not settling thought, unsettling thought.
Well, the only fund right now that is projected within the next 5 years to be in a negative balance is the airport operations.
Okay.
The other funds that we include as part of the CIP, landfill recycling, the sewer funds, road use tax, they all appear to be stable. But as I mentioned before, the only way that road use tax becomes stable is that we have to levy for the benefits. In the sewer fund, we do see a slight decrease in balances over the next 5 years, in that we are expending more than what we are bringing in. But those reductions are not at this point significant. We still maintain a healthy balance. We're still able to pay all of our bills.
And then this is something I talked with Administrative Rath about today, just about when we look at this plan, which I am fully supportive of a CIP plan. I think that it's been too long that we haven't had one. And I think it's very beneficial to the city. I think it's great for the citizens. But we do have, correct me if I'm wrong, but it does feel like we have an increased dependence on the general obligation debt. And so does that reduce our flexibility? Does it give us more flexibility? Or is it really just kind of what we're seeing trends in cities?
Well, what I can tell you is with information from the league, especially with the some of the adjustments in the property tax system, you are seeing more cities using debt service. That particular revenue source and the amount of debt has increased throughout the state of Iowa. So it's not something that we would like to use. If there were other sources that we could tap into, that would certainly be what we would do. And in every case where we could tap into an additional source, we did, in order to reduce that resilience or the reliance upon general obligation debt.
And I mentioned earlier, the danger, I think, is when you start using debt service for operational costs.
Correct.
And just to clarify, we are not doing that.
Correct. Our debt service is totally dedicated to capital projects.
Perfect. And then my final question is, so in the past, when we have done different projects with like the soccer fields or different projects like that, and just ensuring that in our capital and or our CIP plan too, that we are making sure that we are planning for extra staff or continued maintenance for those projects too. And I think Administrator Rath identified that in the CIP that can actually be built into it.
Correct. There is a portion in the program where you can go in and put in the budget impact, both positive and negative. So for instance, if we were to do the windows in City Hall, we put in there that we would see a reduction in our utility costs because we are putting in more efficient windows. Similarly, if we did when we did the soccer fields, we had to put in there that we were going to have additional personnel costs related to that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions from council for Phil?
Mr. O'Donnell,
Cole.
is it your plan to ask the council to approve this program tonight?
Yes, sir. It is. And again, I want to remind you that it is a plan. Okay. So if this was the playbook for the Kansas City Chiefs, go Chiefs, that what it is you come in and you have your game plan. And if everything's going right, like it did on Sunday, you just keep using that game plan. But if it's not going right, like you did a few times this year. You kind of rearrange your plan to make it work, okay? So you are not committing to actually doing these projects. You're committing just to the plan. You will still have the opportunity when we go through the annual budget process to review these projects. And in most cases, they'll need to be brought to the city council for approval, either on the consent agenda or as a separate item. And you'll have a chance to vote on them at that time as well.
And they would be dealt with individually, not just as a group.
Correct.
Okay, it seems like we're running this race 2 times around a circle.
No,
You want
sir.
us to approve one thing, and then if we want to change it, we can approve it another thing. So
Well,
I'm
it's-
confused.
Well,
And
it's,
I'm not liking what I see so far.
well, what I will tell you is that without we need to be able to plan. If all we do is fly by the seat of our pants, we're not going to get things done. We're not going to have, equipment will get replaced after it's broken down. We will have facilities that aren't getting the maintenance that they need, right? We do have examples already within the city of where departments have fallen behind because we were going by the seat of our pants rather than actually planning. Again, you are not committing to the projects. You are committing to the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my understanding that if this were to come to fruition as it is now, we would end up with a deficit, considerable deficit in the city funds.
No,
Is that
sir.
not so?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
We would change the plan, so if we don't get like the funding for like the library, then we would either extend that out or remove that plan. So some of those things in there, like the lazy river or the library expansion, I'm using these two because those were identified. If we don't have the capital or the investment from whether it's grants or outside investments, then we would look to remove those from the plan or extend it out until that capital or investment is there. So then that would reduce it, what'd you say, 30%?
Yeah.
I think Kara explained it pretty well. As far as I'm concerned, we're still betting on a horse that's not in the race yet. Okay? So I don't like spending money that I don't have.
You're
I don't
not
like to
spending,
approve to
sir,
spend
you are, again, I want to say, you are not spending money. You are just saying that if the money is there, you can vote on it again in the future.
I kind of look at it as
Okay.
like, I guess how I look at it as like a projection of what we want to do, instead of just looking year to year to budget, like, do we have the money to do this? So in 2 years, can we financially do this? Like, that's our projection. We would like to do that, but then, kind of like, I don't know, if I want to buy a house or buy a new car, I have to look at my finances. When can I do that? So I look at it as a projection of this is our plan to get to that goal, but there's times that we just can't do that. So then we remove them from the plan. So we're not committing to buying or putting a lazy river in, which I would love to see, but financially it's not possible without other investments. So it's that idea of we'd like to get there, but may not. A projection.
There are certainly things within the document that are wish list items. There are things that have been talked about. There's things that may never happen. But if there is a grant out there, having it in the plan allows us to kind of go for that. If there is capital campaigns that are necessary to fundraise for some of the projects, having that in there helps identify that. And if you get to that point, if 100% of a lazy river was going to be through donated funds, if we don't get those donated funds, we don't move forward with the project. It doesn't come before council again. It might keep getting pushed to that last year of future plans. But it gives us the opportunity to look ahead to, as Cole said, it's a plan. And then we would look at the fiscal year 27 projects if this plan is adopted, and try to incorporate that into the budget document, which is the next time you would be looking at it. And at that point, would be looking to potentially adopt the spending of those funds. But that'd be a more formal plan of what we're talking about here.
I would also identify too, after reading like 7 engineering, I don't know what they're called. What are they?
Was it RFPs?
Proposal RFPs. A lot of people in the proposals, it identifies that cities need CIPs for potential grants of future too, to say like, hey, we do want this and we've planned, and it helps with your grant process.
We won't get any federal funds for the airport unless we have a CIP.
Yeah.
When do you plan to have a session with the council so that we can discuss the elements of this plan?
So during the annual budget process, the staff will bring forth the proposed budget, and the council will have an opportunity at that time to ask questions and comment and make changes. And that'll be sometime probably in February.
February, okay. All right, I'll go with you so far. I'm not happy with what you're presenting, but if we can say no to certain items that are going to kill us, then I'm okay with the plan as long as it's changeable.
And quite honestly, staff doesn't plan on presenting a budget that would kill us.
A lazy river is an example. I need an inner tube for that, okay? All right.
Let's vote.
I do think it's important, though, that like Phil said, there's a lot of wish list items in the plan, but I think it's important that the public sees that the city is trying to take some of the things that the city and the citizens want and at least put it into a plan, whether there's funding for it or not. At least it shows that we're looking at that if the right opportunity or grant opportunity or fundraising effort comes into play.
Correct. If the council doesn't have any more questions for me, this is a public hearing, so I want to give anybody else a chance to speak if they want.
Are there any other questions from council? If not, since it is a public hearing, is there anyone in the audience that would like to make any comments or ask any questions of our finance director? Okay, if not, and there's no other questions, I'd ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes,
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 184, 2025, approving the proposed fiscal years 2027 to 2031 capital improvement plan for the city of Ottumwa. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 184, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
with the reservations I've already stated, yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing on the proposal to convey certain real property locally known as 122 South Iowa Avenue, Ottumwa, Iowa, to Manny Martinez.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe Jake is going to present on this.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. I'm a little scared to be up here today. This has been a rough one. The city accepted bids on the property at 122 South Iowa until 2:00 p.m. September 30th, 2025. We received 2 bids. Manny Martinez submitted the best bid in the amount of $9,025. The staff recommends accepting the bid. And you should have got a bid tab in your packet there.
Council have any questions for Jake? If not, since this is a public hearing, is there anyone in the audience that would like to ask any questions or make any comments regarding this item? If not, I would go ahead and entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have Kara motioned.
Okay.
Bill second.
Yeah.
Bill, second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes,
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 188, 2025, accepting the bid and approving the sale of 122 South Iowa Avenue to Manny Martinez for the sum of $9,025. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 188, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing on the proposal to convey certain real property locally known as 310 North McLean, Ottumwa, Iowa, to Manny Martinez.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe, Jake, you're going to also present on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is the same situation. The city accepted bids on the placarded house at 310 North McLean until 2 p.m. September 30th of 2025. On this property, we received 4 bids. Manny Martinez submitted the best bid in the amount of $15,019, and the staff recommends accepting this bid.
Council have any questions for Jake?
Are we giving up anything as far as assets or things that are charged against this property?
So he receives a title from us that have been cleared of past like tax assessments and things like that. But they were, when the city accepted the property, that was all cleared. So when he buys it, he gets that title from us.
That's kind of confusing to me.
So, yeah, so in the past, before the city accepted the property through 657, there may have been past taxes or mowing fees or something like that. When the city accepted that property, those were all erased. So when we give this property, when we sell this property to him, it will have that clear title.
Okay, I just think, if I just make a comment, not necessarily about this specific item, but I really think it's a bad deal for us to forgive $20,000 in taxes on a property that we sell for $15,000. Why not just keep the property and utilize it to its full value?
Yeah, well, and that's a good point. For instance, Manny Martinez, he purchased a property for us on the south side for around $20,000. That property was not paying around $500 a year. He recently finished that property and has it on the market for $190,000. So right there is a great value. Wow, we're getting a really nice house in the community. Plus that property will be paying taxes from here out, and our office won't be dealing with it as a derelict property. So there's a great advantage to this program.
Okay, Jake, I'm sure there are individual situations that don't apply, but it's just a comment that I want to make. And I don't think we should be selling property for a lot less than we have against it. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to approve. I'm going to say yes on this,
All right,
and then we'll go from there.
thank you.
Is there any other questions from council for Jake? If not, since this is a public hearing, is there anyone in the audience that has any questions or would like to make any comments regarding this item? If not, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 189, 2025, accepting the bid and approving the sale of 310 North McLean to Manny Martinez for the sum of $15,019. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 189, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is ordinances, and we have one ordinance to deal with tonight.
Ordinance number 3250, 2025, amending the municipal code of the city of Ottumwa, Iowa by amending various sections of chapter 23, motor vehicles and traffic, for the purpose of updating parking and traffic regulations within the city of Ottumwa. Recommendation passed the second consideration of ordinance number 3250, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
And I believe our Public Works Director, Philip Bergmeyer, is going to take this item.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So again, these ordinance changes update parking and traffic regulations in and around downtown and near Ottumwa High School. The changes near the high school were requested by the school district in order to improve parking and traffic circulation. And the downtown changes were initiated by either businesses and or their customers. The city staff have reviewed the proposed changes and support the updated regulations.
Is there any questions from council for Philip?
Mr. Bergmeyer, so it seems like it's congested around the River Hills area, that East Main, Wapello County Health, that area, the driver's. Does any of this have to do with anything there?
Well, one does. So the parking lot kind of west of them, northwest.
Yes.
We're changing the number of hours people can park there. We're increasing that because some of their patients have been getting tickets.
Okay, good.
Because the parking lot was only
That
an
was
hour.
a concern I had, that there was a problem there.
Yeah.
It was the only city parking lot that was restricted to an hour and a half parking. Now it's going to be 4 hours like the rest of the city parking lots.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they had requested moving it to like 3 hours, but we had a 1, 2, or 4. And so to accommodate, we just moved it to the 4 instead of creating a new number altogether.
Yeah, because they said certain procedures and people would come in there, they'd be there for over 2 hours. So we just rounded it up to the
Okay, good.
next group.
That was needed.
Any other questions from council for Philip? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavanagh?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
The next item is departmental board or commission recommendations and reports. And I believe our finance director, Cole O'Donnell, is going to handle this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On April 15, 2025, the council adopted the fiscal year 26 budget. We had revenue estimates of $429,920 against expenditure estimates of $84,559,834. Most of that difference was due to planned use of reserves in several different funds. So it wasn't that we were necessarily overspending or deficit spending or anything like that. General fund operations did have a shortfall, a planned shortfall of $469,685. Council approved the budget based upon the assumption that the shortfalls could be made up through open staffing positions as it has in previous years, including the fiscal year 25. But they did request that we present quarterly reports to monitor the progress. And I want to say that this is a preliminary report only because not all revenues and expenditures are accounted for based upon the timing of when we receive them. So for example, any of the franchise fees for gas and electric, they come to us usually in the first week of the month following the end of the quarter. So the end of the quarter is September. We don't get those revenues until the first week of November. So we will present a finalized report at the second meeting in November, which will also try to factor in transfers and other things into the revenues and expenditures. So the big elephant in the room, revenues for the general fund. The total revenues were $4,650,247, which represent 33.68% of budgeted revenues. But we do have to take into account that revenues are not received equally. Property taxes, September is a big collection month. So we receive, at this point, we're at 46.07% of our revenues for general fund property taxes. What you will see is over the next quarter that will not increase tremendously. Certainly we'll receive more in as collections do come in, but you will not see a large number come in until the spring when the second half of taxes are due. Other fluctuations due to timing include other city taxes. That is where hotel motel taxes are credited. What you see is only for July and August. And July, the way the state distributes those, they calculate a portion of what comes in July that was actually credited to June. And so when we receive those, we put a portion back through accrued accounting back to June. So we get a boost at the end of the year in those as well. Additionally, what you see in there right now is mostly cable franchise and the 2 months of hotel motel tax. Intergovernmental is a lot of that comes from the state with the community industrial replacement. We have not received those yet. We're assuming that those will come next month. Special assessments, I do want to point that out. As Councilmember Cavanagh likes to point out that we're often forgiving those special assessments when we have a property that is derelict or condemnation and we want to move it along. We received special assessment back for weed mowing and nuisances, I believe on seven or eight properties. So there were property owners that actually paid the assessment back, and that totaled to $9,769. Not a huge amount, but it is something to note. So when we look at revenue for all funds, our total revenues were $16,894,205, which is 27.84% of total budgeted. Property tax for also includes debt service, employee benefits, and there's also the TIF revenue that comes in. Again, what you'll see is the next few months you won't see a large influx of in those areas. Enterprise funds are mainly from charges for services, and if you look at the charges for services, we're about right on target at about almost 25%. So we're doing okay there. And the sewer had 22.85% of budgeted, landfill 27.41% of budgeted, and recycling 26.07% of budgeted. Of the budgeted for other sources, there is primarily proceeds of debt. Of that, $8,467,700 budgeted for proceeds of debt. $7,850,000 is from the SRF for separation projects, and those funds are only drawn down as we complete portions of the project and request the funds. Okay, so expenditures within the general fund. The expenditures are within estimates. What you like to see is if we're at the quarter, we like to see them less than 25%, and we're at 22.12% of general fund expenditures. We need expenditures to be 2.22% less than estimates. So right now what it is based upon the preliminary report, we're at 2.88% less than budgeted expenses. We do have open positions. We have 4 open positions, but I think that may have increased slightly but maybe not, as I'm getting a shake of a nod of head from our HR director. But we do have 4 open positions. 3 of those are actively recruiting. 1 is not at this point. HR is doing a really good job. And we're getting a high number of applicants, which is reducing the time for positions that are open. Before we were getting very few applicants or very few qualified applicants. Now we're getting a good number of applicants, and they are of quality, so we're able to fill those positions quicker. There are concerns within the fire department for personnel expenses. Overtime is at 54.91%, and we're only in the first quarter. Comp time taken is at 37.68%, and our job differential is at 38.52. The job differential is when a member of the service has to perform duties above their current position. So if there is a captain missing, then someone has to step up into that, or an assistant chief is off, then someone has to step up into that. Total wages and salaries are at 23.94%, and that's total for the entire general fund, not just the fire department. So we're a little off on total wages and salaries. So again, looking at the graphs here, employee benefits for new employees are budgeted at the maximum that could be taken. So that's why you might see where wages and salaries are 22.34, but employee benefits is only at 18.97. When we look at the employee benefits as well, it's not them being below the bottom line is not necessarily them being below the percent that we of 25%. It not necessarily helps the bottom line. We transfer from the employee benefits fund based upon actual usage. So if it's below, we don't get the extra funds that are budgeted for revenues. They stay in the employee benefits fund. The other thing is that in order to meet the House File 718 levy reductions, we are not transferring the full amount. Reason being is we couldn't reduce our general fund levy to match what we needed to in order to bring that down slowly to meet the 810 limit in fiscal year 29. We have to be at our maximum general fund levy in order to levy for employee benefits. So what we did is we said we're going to reduce the employee benefit portion that would go to the general fund in the amount necessary to meet that revenue reduction in the general fund. And what you look at is when you look at the programs, rec and culture expenditures are above the 25%, but that's expected because most of those occur in the summer months. What you'll see is that those will level off in the next couple quarters and then pick back up in the spring. So expenditures of all funds. Timing of certain expenditures creates some variances. So in contractual, we're only at this point, we're only at 12.72% of projections. But our street and sewer projects haven't necessarily progressed in such a manner in order to bring that up. In commodities, we're at 16.66%. But we haven't bought sand and salt, and we're also dependent upon how many airplanes are going out so that JD can buy fuel. The more airplanes that go out, the higher his commodity cost because he's buying more fuel. And our capital expenditures are at 11.87%. Again, this is due to the timing of the projects. Do expect a significant expenditure increases in the coming quarters for those areas. Again, just a chart showing you where we're at as far as expenditures as types, expenditures as programs. With expenditures as types, we're at 15.9% of budgeted. With expenditures within the program, we're at 16.10. What I'm going to tell you is that my spreadsheet, when I did this, it's picking up or not picking up on some things in the different categories. So we'll have that ironed out so that those two match come in November. But they're still indicative of where we're actually at. And you will see again, culture and recreation total is higher given that the summer months is where things happen. Public safety runs at 21%. All the others are actually below 20% of budgeted expenditures. So our conclusions at this time. It's difficult to determine if changes are needed. with quarter one. Because of the different fluctuations, because of some of the ongoing things that are of concern, we cannot necessarily project that we are going to be above projections or we're going to be below projections. So we're not recommending changes at this time. What we'll do is when the second quarter report comes in, we'll have a much better idea of where we're sitting at the mid-year. But when we do the final report on November 18th, we do not foresee any drastic changes with the final report. What you see up there will not change significantly. But again, we continue to monitor them as council has requested, and we'll continue to report back should we have any concerns. And we will come back to you if we have any concerns before the quarterly report as well.
Does council have any initial questions for Cole regarding the first quarter fiscal year 26 report? I do think these quarterly reports are going to be very helpful because I think as the public can see, the city's budget is a very complicated budget and there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things, like you said, Cole, change quarter to quarter. And you have to really get into it for a couple quarters to kind of see where you're going to be at. But I think this is going to be very helpful to the council in case down the road, if revenues don't come in as anticipated, then you're in a better position to make some timely cuts in service if necessary.
Thank you.
I guess I would just ask, so we're at, I think you said a difference of like 2.88 and we need to be at 2.22. Is that?
No, we need at least 2.22.
Oh, that's, yes,
Yeah.
at least. So, but because we're over,
Nice if we were at 3% or more under total expenditures for the general fund. That would be great. What I can tell you is that, you try to predict as best you can, but some things become unforeseen. So just as an example, in moving back into City Hall, there were some additional expenditures that once we got in here, we realized that we needed some different parts repaired. So that added some additional costs. Some other departments, when they're having equipment breakdown, you didn't expect it to break down and you didn't expect the expenses to be as much as they were. And so there's some problems there. We do ask departments to monitor closely, and with the My Viewpoint program that they can access, they're able to look at specific line items and monitor them. And I know that they're doing that. So they are watching and trying to be as careful as they possibly can.
Well, I appreciate the report, and it's very hard with all the ebb and flow of things to really have a set line, but it looks to me in general like things are on track.
At this time.
Yes.
I don't want, what it is I'm happy that we're at where we're at, but I'm also concerned that we're not farther to where we need to be.
Do you have any idea what it costs to renovate City Hall?
I believe the cost was over $2 million, but I don't have the exact dollar amount right off the top of my head.
Were we any place close in a budget to that?
What I can tell you is that it was fully funded. We had funds necessary. I can't tell you what the original budget was right off the top of my head. There were some change orders. What I will say is that having had experience in renovating older buildings, you try to build in a contingency because you know that once you tear into them, you're going to find other problems. We did exceed the contingency, but I don't believe we significantly exceeded that contingency.
All right, thank you.
is that something you could update us on November 18th? Because I know I've gotten a few questions about it and I don't know if others have.
Right. I will get with our Public Works Director and get those final costs and give you a report on that as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Council have any other questions for Cole? This does not require a vote. So if there's no other questions, we'll keep moving on. Okay, the next item is resolutions. We have 8 resolutions this evening.
Resolution number 182, 2025, approving updates to hearing protection policy for City of Ottumwa employees. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 182, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Motion to approve. Second, whatever.
And our HR Director, Barb Kojo, is going to handle this.
Thank you, sir. This is just one minor change on the list of employees that are required to do the annual hearing test, and that's just based off of feedback from a new director.
Also have any questions for Barb?
Could you repeat what you just said? I couldn't understand what you said.
The only change in this policy, because you've approved it before, the only change in it is on the second to last page, there's a list of employees that are required to have annual hearing tests. And there are employees that we've changed, like positions that we have changed based on feedback from a new department director.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? If not, Chris, take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thanks, Barb.
Resolution number 183, 2025, authorizing the mayor to sign and staff to submit the grant agreement addendum between the Iowa Department of Transportation and the Ottumwa Regional Airport. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 183, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
And I believe JD Wheaton, our Airport Operations Director, is going to handle this.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The agreement addendum is for the Iowa DOT Gavi grant that was approved at the City Council meeting on November 7th, 2023. Due to the delay in federal funding, we couldn't move forward with this earlier than this. Now that we have the federal funding that we're going to get and the money that we have left over from our pavement project that we can put towards this T-hanger project, I need to extend this Gavi grant out a little bit farther till the end of May. So that's all I'm asking for tonight. Just extend what you've already approved. It's just that we couldn't get it done in a timely manner due to the delay from the FAA.
Council have any questions for JD?
Is there anything that you're not going to get done since you now have the funds?
No, because actually we had budgeted higher for the pavement project that we have funds left over from. But this is a different source of funds. This is from the Iowa DOT, but the FAA funds that we have for a pavement project, the IJA grant and the AIP grant, we can use that funding that we had left over towards this T-hanger project along with some other federal grants that right now is a 95.5 match instead of like an Iowa DOT is a 300,000 max. We're at 85.15. Normally the FAA is a 90.10. Right now it's a 95.5. So that's why we're moving forward with this as soon as we can. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for JD? Not, Chris, take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 185, 2025, approving the fiscal year 2025 annual urban renewal report. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 185, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
I promise next meeting I will not have as many presentations. But as part of the urban renewal report, I did want to kind of go through to help you and the public understand the urban renewal areas and tax increment financing. So in urban renewal areas, the designated section within the city is used to address slum and blighted conditions, encourage economic development activities, and public purpose projects. So when we look at slum and blighted, that could be housing, that could be commercial buildings that have fallen into disrepair, that we can then dedicate funds in order to alleviate those conditions. Economic development activities, we have used our urban renewal areas for commercial retail. We have used it for to encourage apartment complexes and housing. and a public purpose projects. We've used it to improve our airport and plan on using tax increment financing to continue those improvements. The activities paid through TIF, we certify our debt annually based upon what we need. So we only take what we need. The rest is reserved. This allows us to capture additional property taxes on improvements, which is the increment. So there is a base value set when we created the area. And then any improvements in valuation, whether it be through reassessed values or through actual improvements, we're able to capture additional taxes that are paid. So we get a portion of the county's and a portion of the school's taxes to help us pay for projects. We also, the portion that would go towards our general fund is also used to help pay for those projects. So the state requires that an annual urban renewal report be filed with the Department of Management every year. If we fail to file in a timely fashion, they will freeze our property tax revenue to the previous fiscal year. So I do encourage that this be approved, so we don't have that happen. Information on the reports includes the assessed value of the urban renewal areas, captured valuation for TIF revenues, certified debt for each of the urban renewal areas, projects and obligations, the beginning balance, revenues received, and expenditures and ending balances for each urban renewal area for fiscal year 25. So those are all fiscal year 25 numbers. So what activities did we have in our urban renewal areas? In the Westgate, we provide money for downtown maintenance. We meet our obligations for Main Street, Iowa. We use money to pay for bonds. In that, for the Westgate, that $480,703 for bond of the 2020 GO bond, that was for CSO projects. We do provide ourselves some admin fees in order to pay for the administration of the districts. That goes into the general fund. This previous year, we provided $150,000 to the BBC as a operational loan, and that is expected to be paid back into the Westgate Fund. We do have our SMID districts are within the Westgate, and so we provide $78,292 back towards SMID projects. We have development agreements for the Highland development and the Washington Street apartments. And the Highland development, let me get it here real quick. And the Highland development was for retail development. So it's generating significant revenue there because of the improvements. Yeah.
Has the Bridgeview Center started paying back that $150,000 loan at 1% interest yet?
Not yet.
How long do they have to pay it back?
It was till the end of the current agreement.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. In the airport, we paying the 2019 GO bonds, which went towards the runway. And the Wildwood Highway 24, the 2021 GO bond, portion of the 2021 GO bonds, and that was for the development of the Kohl's department store. Again, our administration fees. And the Hopkins property, which is not seen full realization of their valuation, and that was the strip mall next to Kohl's. And in the Bonita urban renewal area, to HCI 52501 LLC, and that was for the apartments. So those were our activities in the urban renewal areas. And I just wanted to, again, kind of present that to City Council so you and the public know that we are trying to be prudent with the tax increment funds and the benefits that they are providing. It is the tax increment financing may be something that is targeted in the legislature this year, especially if they have a property tax reform. Letting people know that the benefit of tax increment financing can help us provide information to our legislators to have them make an educated decision on where that should go.
Cole, who gets the $10,000 administrative fee?
That goes into our general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council for Cole?
And you're not really asking us to verify these numbers. You're just asking us to
Just approve the report.
approve the report.
I have gone through and verified the numbers, and they will be part of our annual audit. I have already forwarded, well, I shouldn't say that. I will forward the completed report to our auditors tomorrow. And so that'll be part of their process of going through and making sure that everything's okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 186, 2025, awarding the contract for asbestos abatement and demolition of the condemned property at 418 Vernon to Dan Larson of Ottumwa, Iowa, in the amount of $22,600, $4,000 for abatement and $18,600 for demolition. Recommendation: pass and adopt resolution number 186, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Jake, I believe you're going to present on this.
Thank you, Mayor. The city accepted bids for the asbestos removal, demolition, and cleanup of 418 Vernon until 2 p.m. on October 9th, 2025. We received 4 asbestos bids and 5 demolition bids. Dan Larson submitted the best combination bid in the amount of $22,600 for asbestos removal and demolition of this condemned property. Staff recommends awarding him the contract.
Council have any questions for Jake?
So Jake, I just have a question about this asbestos removal. How much oversight does the city have to have over these contractors, these men who take these bids, that they're doing it right? The asbestos, I mean, it just seems like, from what I've maybe seen just driving by, is just kind of treated like regular materials.
There's a long list of things that they have to do to meet those standards by the DNR. We verify their licenses and their bonds. We also make sure that they put in a request. They have to put in a 10-day request to be able to remove the asbestos. I know that the state representative has been down a couple times to check in on them, so they always have that ability to show up at a work site and check on them. But staff feels that things are going pretty smoothly.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from council? Okay, if not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 187, 2025, awarding the contract for demolition and disposal of the condemned property at 604 Gladstone to Tim Skinner of Ottumwa, Iowa, in the amount of $4,499. Recommendation: pass and adopt resolution number 187, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Okay, Jake, it's all yours.
Same situation here. We accepted bids until 2 p.m. on October 9th, 2025. Fortunately, this property didn't have any asbestos contamination, so we were able to get a pretty good price here. Tim Skinner submitted the best bid of $4,499 for the demolition and cleanup, and the staff recommends going with that bid.
Council have any questions for Jake regarding this property? Not, Chris, take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 190, 2025, approving renewal of the professional services agreement with Retail Strategies LLC to supplement the city's economic development efforts. Recommendation: pass and adopt resolution number 190, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
And Amal Eltaher, our new community development. As I say new, you're not new anymore. I don't know why I keep saying that. Our community development director is going to handle this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Council may recall last meeting, Cam South with retail strategies gave Council an update on the state of the partnership with the company. My goal tonight is to just briefly highlight a couple of points as you're considering this renewal of contract. So generally, through the overview, the purpose is to just supplement our economic development efforts. So the company works as extension to staff, providing their services. They're helping us strengthen our competitiveness as a community when it comes to retail recruitment. They specialize in market analyses and identifying prospects, and they do national recruitment. Why renewal matters to us? It is critical to maintain momentum. We do have a momentum in growth, and it's key for us to continue with our services because it's a long game. And you may recall comments made by Cam that it might take up to 3 years for a prospect to come to fruition. So definitely it will keep us proactive and ready to seize on opportunities as they arise. And we want them to continue build on their success stories. As you can see here, those are a couple brand names they were able to land in the community because of their services. As the case for any action we take, we look for alignment and how consistent is that action with our overall strategy. Of course, advancing retail and through those services will help us enhance quality of life with more options, and it will help us on the sustainability front through tax base and creating more destinations for shopping in the community, attracting more visitors, and then also increasing local spending. It will also help with reinforcing our current economic development initiatives by creating that market in the community so that that environment invites more investment. As far as their contract, we're looking for obligation from them. They'll be committing to do outreach at a national level, recruiting retail and restaurant brands. They will continue to promote Ottumwa and promote our available sites to targeted prospects. And they will continue to provide market research. They do have a profile for our community. They make that available to businesses, interested parties, and to us. So they will be serving as a resource for the city. And they will continue to present Ottumwa at national retail trade events. And they will continue to support our other initiatives. That's our opportunity when we want to drive where they focus in terms of sites or neighborhoods. They will deliver regular updates. Currently, they do have a system for communication. Mark is the administrator. Him and I have access to those comments, and they will be giving us updates, and they will continue to give us feedbacks on their contacts and why not landing in a community. We will continue to have that dialogue with them. Cam also covered a lot of grounds as far as economic impact, and Council may recall the impact they talked about through local option sales tax revenue, and we know how important that is for support of essential services like public safety and streets, revitalizing current dormant sites, and bringing more business, adding help with job creation, and then synergy, because some retailers like to cohabitate. So bringing in one business would help us bringing more business down the line. Budget impact, their fee is $50,000 a year for a total of $150 throughout the life of the contract. We did budget for that in Community Development Fund, and we've made a request through Legacy Foundation for grant funding to support 50% of the cost, and we've heard back with approval. So I'll be back to council with a contract for that. So we're expecting city share to be $30,000 a year. Recommendation, staff is recommending approval of this renewal because it's consistent with our strategic plan or strategic priorities. And also this action would support retail growth and it will show that we're committing to continue progress.
Does council have any questions for Amal?
I just have a quick one. So did we budget 50 a year for it, and then now we will have kind of that relief of the 20,000?
We budgeted 55.
Oh, perfect.
Anticipating growth. So yeah, that grant is gonna be really helpful for us.
Yeah.
We can reroute those funds.
Perfect. Thank you.
I like the idea that we have people pulling like GoPip and different organizations trying to bring in work, bring in jobs and opportunities for folks. Last meeting, the man mentioned that he thought there'd be about $78,000 that would come in on the local option sales and service tax. I kind of wonder about that number just a little bit though, because if it's just trading, if I buy a sub at Jersey Mike's instead of Subway, that really isn't new money coming in. It just traded places where it came from. So I was wondering what your thoughts were on that. I mean, how accurate are those ideas?
Well, that's based on a lot of data, and they do have access to technology like Pacer AI. So they do look at the profile, whether that's new money or existing opportunity that is being rerouted. But I think the choice for the community, some people might like this versus that. They may never show up for this sandwich shop, but they like Jersey Mike and they stop and shop there.
Mark, would you like to say something?
Councilperson Reed, that's a good point, and I think that you will see as you see some, especially your quick service restaurants, you are going to see some cannibalization from other restaurants as well. But I think what's important to note is when you're looking at the other businesses where the real revenue is at. So the estimated revenues for Jersey Mike's, for example, we'd be collecting about $1.5 million worth of gross revenue or gross revenues that would be taxable through them. But where the real revenue comes in is places like Five Below and what would be the future Ollie's. And we're losing prior to that almost all of that, again, using the reports that they have access to, like the Placer and data leak or monetary leakage reports that we see using that specific credit card data from the 52501 and surrounding shed of credit card data to places like Kirksville or Burlington or Des Moines. There's where there's solid quantifiable data that we're seeing. So for example, we see Ollie's, for example, would be about $4.5 million a year of revenues that we're losing in the city of Ottumwa to the Kirksville market right now, specific to that one store. And we were losing in the neighborhood between $2.5 and $3.5 million per year from Five Below. That's specifically from this area, this zip code. So, in those particular areas, we do see that gain. And just to take everybody back in time when the original contract was signed, the goal, at least from my recollection, from being on city council at the time, the goal was never at the time to make a profit off of this contract, because we knew that the first year was going to be, hey, let's just collect data. Let's see what the market looks like. Let's get this prepared. And then we can move forward in years 2 and 3, which is exactly what happened, in the hopes that by the time we hit year 3, we would have at least covered our expenses in that contract amount to them. Looking at the data that we've seen so far from Five Below, with the reduction of the grant proceeds that we were given from the Legacy Foundation, we have in fact done that, and we're going to see the benefit of that moving on, because we have the Jersey Mike's attached to it, which again, arguably there will be some cross contamination from other quick service restaurants, but we also will see the addition from Ollie's that's going to be residual from this contract as well. So looking forward, we should see where this was actually a great investment for taxpayer dollars for the city of Ottumwa. So looking forward, I think that I think that the city of Ottumwa made a wise investment at the time, and this would be something that I think would be good for the future of Ottumwa, because as Mal said, these dollars go to offset road use tax or road use construction with the local option sales tax. So it's a good investment for the city in the long term.
Thank you, Mark.
Does council have any other questions for Mal?
I would like to comment on Mark's remarks. I'm not sure that we can evaluate how much work or business came in from the $150,000 that we paid this firm. That's pretty mushy. I don't know how you can regulate that or tell that. And I think I don't think it's a good investment, my personal feelings on it. And I think that we would need to see how much of this business would have come in anyway.
Well, it's actually very easily quantifiable, because if they spend they bring in $2.5 million worth of revenues to the community, then we're going to see 1% of that in local option sales tax. So there's a very easy formula to qualify that.
You're still not attributing it to them bringing in that business. The dollars I understand, but I'm not sure that they're generating those dollars for the city.
Well, had it not been for retail strategies, Five Below would not be here. It's as simple as that. So those dollars wouldn't exist in the community. They would be going to Kirksville.
So you're saying the whole thing is contributed to Five Below?
For what we have at this point in time, yes, because Jersey Mike's just opened and Ollie's is still under construction.
I'm telling you, you just can't sell me on more restaurants. We're just trading dollars back and forth. We're not bringing new money into the community.
Well, Five Below is not a restaurant, though.
I understand that, but Jersey Mike's is.
Sure.
And there are other restaurants that keep coming and going, but they're just trading the same dollars.
Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we pay retail strategies. We're paying for their contacts, their knowledge, their pathway to this new business. And being in retail myself for 28 years, I understand where Councilman Cavanis is coming from, but the food industry is a huge industry, and the food industry is actually what helps bring the big retail industry in, or even the small retail industry in. So you have to have a good mix of those businesses. Because I did question retail strategies at first, I admit it, until I realized that, it was the connections we're paying for. And not only that, these new diverse businesses will open up, not only give Ottumwans a choice, but they give outsiders a choice. To what Mark said, Burlington being down the road, I could just as easily get in my car and go, an hour and 40 minutes down the road or an hour down the road, but now I don't have to because we have those restaurants of food and we have that retail here and we are not losing out. So, like I understand where you're coming from, but I think in my opinion, the food industry is a boost to bring the big retail and small retail in. So
It's all a synergy, right? So, Walmart, for example, wouldn't have come to Ottumwa had there not been other retail establishments with it. They established themselves in the community originally in a mall that had other anchor stores attached to it. You're not going to see, with the exception of places like Dollar General, that will put up 14 stores in 13 roundabouts just so they can have a place. But most of these places are very synergistic. So they are going to look at what is there and they see that these are complementary establishments to go with them. And it doesn't matter whether it's a restaurant or whether it's a retail business, there is a synergy with them.
Mark, I was on council when we brought Walmart in, and the mall sent them away, said, we don't want any part of you. And so when they approached the city, they said, we'd like to build on West. Is that possible? And we said, yes, we can TIF that area and we can provide water and sewer if you will allow us to annex you. And they said, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just take a look at Walmart. They're surrounded by other businesses out there, Menards and the strip mall and other businesses that exist out there. So just that trade with them paid huge dividends to the city.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think that was a very wise investment on the city's part.
I would also like to comment and identify that, relationships are huge in a world of bringing businesses in also. And that's what retail strategies brings, but it also brings time or allows time to come back to our staff where they're able to work on other projects instead of having to, try to establish contacts and have back and forth emails or phone conversations too. So it does allow for time, and time is a precious commodity for all of us, and especially when we have a lot of projects done and, we could always have more, could always allow for more time and staff. But so I think that's where also retail strategy adds value.
Put quite simply, if Mark calls or I call or we call a big company, they may not take my call, but retail strategies, who already has a relationship with them, they'll take their call. They've already made connections. They've already made those. So, I think it's important, like she said, to have those connections and the people you can call and the people that can get it done.
Yeah, and definitely that's a value you can't put a price on it. We're buying access, and also this is a long game. We are on the right path, and we just started with a couple of successes. We should continue.
Right.
Until we get the anchors like Walmart, because it's an anchor business, and then the business will follow.
And we'll get continued revenue off all those new businesses that come in. So we really are getting our money's worth, I think.
I think I mentioned this 3 years ago when we were looking at going with retail strategies in the first place. And I say they're really kind of more like a dating app or somebody that's going to put two people together. They're looking not just what the businesses that are out there are looking for, but also what's going to fit in the community. So they're one of their jobs is to make sure that, or try to ensure or help ensure that whatever business is coming into Ottumwa is going to be successful, and so that they match up with what's going to do well here and what the community is going to want here. And so they're looking at that and matching up our interests with the interests of whatever business potential might be out there.
Any other questions for them all? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavanis?
What are we voting on here? Number 6?
Yes.
Approving the renewal of the professional services agreement with Retail
The answer is
Strategies.
no.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1. Resolution number 191, 2025, approving a downtown revitalization grant for facade improvements at 903 Church Street. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 191, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Second.
Okay, Amal.
We received an application for a grant for facade improvements to restore building brick front. Location is 903 Church Street. Project cost estimated at $20,100. The grant is 25%, so making the maximum possible grant amount to be $5,025. Project is, the map shows the project location. It's in the Church Street district. Elevation shown here is a rendering for how the building would look after improvements. The downtown strategic vision included recommendations for both downtown district and retail and Church Street district as retail district. The map shown here shows the map for the grant, downtown grants, including the property. You can see the red dot is where the property is located. So as for review, for any requests, we review for consistency with our plans and policy, strategic plan or a comprehensive plan 2040 priorities. Goal is to enhance downtown appeal and community character. Taking an action as proposed tonight is going to be consistent with that goal. Downtown strategic vision, long-term investment goal, number 2, talks about encouraging improving exterior aesthetics for the districts, both downtown and Church Street. So taking an action tonight will help advance this goal. So it is consistent with the vision. Policy and programs. Our policies talks about revitalizing the city core and preserving buildings. Action will be consistent with that policy. Also, for impact, we've seen many times where you have a catalytic impact. When you improve one property, you see improvements around it in the neighborhood. So, looking at that overall impact, encouraging or supporting this improvement would help advance the city's broader goal of sustainability, reinvesting in the community and economic growth. Recommendation, staff is recommending approval of the grant request in an amount not to exceed the $5,025, subject to program guidelines. If council takes an action in favor, would be affirming or confirming council commitment to downtown vitality and overall city image.
I think I recognize this building as the former Swanson grocery store, which is on the Five Corners across from Hy-Vee or McDonald's. Is that not so? And can you tell me, did they approach the city or did someone in the city approach them for this facade program?
They did approach the city.
They did approach the city? Okay.
But it's not that
Yeah,
big
it's not
building.
It's not the Wembley,
Not the
former
same.
Wembley grocery store.
Is,
Yeah.
yeah. Is this is a C3 district, correct? Not C4
It's a C2.
or C2? Okay, thank you.
I would say that this property does have, this facade is in terrible shape and that the city did approach him to make repairs. He then approached us for the grant, but we did approach him first due to a dilapidation of this facade. But it's not that store.
Okay, thank you. I need that information.
And I didn't see it in here, but the committee that approved this and everything too.
Yes.
Does the council have any other questions for Amal regarding this revitalization grant? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 193, 2025, removing special assessments applied to 419 South Foster that were ratified through resolution number 199, 2024. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 193, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Jake.
Thank you, Mayor. So in November of 2024, council agreed to remove all assessments on this property at 419 South Foster, except for the 2023 mowing assessment of $350 for mowing, $74 for interest, and $9 in administration, for a total of $433. Eddie Paxton did pay that and has acquired the lot. An overlook was in resolution 199, 2024, which assessed mowing fees for 2023, which is actually a 2024 resolution. And Mr. Paxton has asked that we remove those fees as it wasn't part of this agreement in November.
Council have any questions for Jake regarding this property?
I think you've been doing a good job.
Thank you, sir.
If there's no questions, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Thanks, Jake. The next item on our agenda is our public forum, where I ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak on any non-agenda items this evening. Okay. The next item is Mayor City Council reports and/or communications. The only thing I guess I would like to remind people of is our next city council meeting is November 4th, which is the same day as the city elections. So I would just really encourage everyone to get out and exercise your right to vote. And hopefully we'll have a good turnout for the next city elections and the next school board elections. Does anybody have any other comments or announcements they'd like to make?
I would like to say, if you don't know where your dollars are going, the school board gets 65% of your money, and you might want to go into the school board and vote.
Anyone else have any announcements, comments they'd like to make about anything? Okay. If not, I'd go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn our city council meeting.
So moved.
You said it.
Doug. Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavaness?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway? Councilmember Hoffman?
We are adjourned, and thank you everyone
Yes, I
for
just wanted to make Doug wait
attending
for
our
an
city
extra
council meeting tonight. Safe travels home.